Welcome to From Caving In to Crushing It, the podcast for those who find themselves immersed in adversity and choose to write their story instead of having others write it for them. I'm Drew Duraney, and I'm your host. All right, Nate, it's taken a long time to get us to this point. You're worth the wait, my friend. Great to see you, Nate Wilde.
Good to see you, my friend. Good to be here.
Absolutely. All right. First thing I always do is I always thank the individual who introduced me to my guest. So once again, Steve Ramona, shout out. Thank you, my friend, for introducing me to Nate. I really appreciate it. So, folks, why is Nate on the show? I'll tell you why. Yeah, I always have this criteria. You have to be a good human being, and he certainly is. And then you've got to, be doing something in life that people need, and he does. And then you got to be different, unique, with something that sets you apart with the other humans or businesses in the world. And he checks off all three of those. But another reason why he's here, I always talk about how I believe in the beginning of our lives when we're young, it's not a malicious teaching, but our family, friends, they tell us life is linear. It's a straight path. If we do all these things in order, A plus B plus C, D's going to happen. For the most part, life is linear until it's not. There's always external circumstances that come in our path and get in between one of those letters and derail that straight path in life and make it a more circuitous route. With that, I truly believe there's three types of men. There's man number one, who's got a ton of blind spots. He doesn't even see these external circumstances. He figures, oh, I'm just living life the way I'm supposed to. He got on autopilot, and that's it. Nothing changes in life. Then there's man number two. Man number two's got a heightened self awareness. He sees the adversity, those external circumstances, yet he's the victim. That's a barrier to anything in life. This is life doing it to me. I can't change it. It is what it is. No changes. And on your deathbed, man number two's got a ton of regrets. And then there's man number three. That's Nate. That's the men and women I have on this show. Man number three has a heightened self awareness. He sees that adversity and he says, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's not a barrier, that's an opportunity. I'm going to take massive action, do something different, and become a stronger man on the other side. So, Nate, reach back as far as you need to for that defining moment, whether it's the tap on the shoulder, the whisper in the ear, or like what I needed, 2x4 upside my head, that transformed you from the man you were to man number three, who you are now, and how you took that transformation and changed your life both personally and professionally. What do you have for us?
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, first off, thank you for having me on the show, and I love that you shout out Steve Ramona. Drew, you and I have known each other for a while, probably
Yep.
a year and a half at this point, but Steve was the one who made that happen. So shout out Steve. I'm sure he's introduced plenty of people who come on your show. So
Yeah.
we love Steve. But to answer your question, it was a gradual change for me. You really have me thinking about when that happened and what it looked like, and I can pinpoint times in my life back when I was younger, when I was the first man, when the word I would use is naive,
Mhm.
really just
Yep.
and I don't know, maybe that's self-deprecating, but it just not aware of what's going on, not totally oblivious of hardships and of opportunities and of
Mhm.
places I can and should go. And then I know probably late teenage years, early 20s, I absolutely was the victim. I could see that there was more to be had out there. I lived in Southern California for a couple of years. I'm from Idaho, but lived in Southern California and met all of these people who were killing it in business and in life and lived in these mansions and live just a beautiful life. Which I'm not saying riches does that to you, but it can allow for some of that for sure
Help,
if
it
you use it
helps.
correctly.
Yep.
Um, and I almost felt like a victim. I almost felt like I was not being put in the right place to
Mhm.
accomplish. And it's funny because I look back at that and I could see now in my mind today, I could see these paths forward that I should have taken
Mhm.
and different relationships to foster and things to open up. And I just kind of sat and was a grumpy, like little dude about that. So I think the real shift from that, like the second man to third. It happened probably not long, probably 5 years ago. I think is probably around where I would say it's. I was working a couple different jobs. I worked for Google for a little bit. I worked for a couple of mid-level SaaS companies in various different realms. I did some management, did some customer service, sales, marketing, like really jumped around and did everything for a little bit.
Yep.
Um, and it just every single time I felt like I was in a box.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a creative person. That is something I'm a visionary to a fault.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that every time I would try to find a new way to do something that was a little bit better and try to improve it, everybody would come back and say, "No, that's not how we do things here. You're not fulfilling the role." And that's when I kind of got introduced and brought into this idea of entrepreneurship and like why not go build it yourself? Why not just do it yourself and build it from there? So got connected in with some of the most amazing entrepreneurs that I'm still well connected with today and get to chat with and work with and um, vision with
Mm-hmm.
on a daily basis. And that, man, that just makes me happy. I think that's really the transition
I
point.
love that.
So
I love
hopefully
that.
that's a fair, I can't pinpoint like a day or
No,
a
no.
situation,
But you
but
know what? Sometimes there's multiple moments like that,
yeah.
but sometimes it's that aha moment where you just have that gut feeling like this doesn't feel right, and that's kind of like what you're talking about. So when you had that what was your first move, first physical move away from the corporate 9 to 5 to take that plunge into entrepreneurship, and how did you go about it?
The first big move that I did, so one of these mid-level SaaS companies I was working with, I prepped literally hours. I worked on this document trying to bring to them because it was this human resources system, like
Mhm.
SaaS system.
Yeah.
We had dozens and dozens of customer service reps there. It's extremely complicated system, handled anything from time off to payroll to discipline to onboarding and offboarding, legal documents, everything. So we had so many customer service reps, and
Mm.
that's my job that I was there is just a rep for customer service.
Right.
And we would get on calls consistently and just not like it would take 20, 30 minutes to solve a lot of these. Some
Right.
of them took hours to solve. And what we realized is there's most of the time other people had already experienced that and had been in that space.
Hmm.
And there was a search capability that you could go and look through emails or look through different call transcripts, but it wasn't very robust.
Right.
And so I built out, they had this whole AI division of the company. And I built out this idea to kind of combine AI with automation and like almost like a spider web of all the responses that we as customer service reps saw
Right.
to make it incredibly simple and make it just so much easier.
Mhm.
And I brought that. That was kind of my first like,
Yeah.
hey, I bet I could do this. I bet this is like a 500-person company. I think I could actually take something up to the top level and make a change. So I did. I prepped this all. I brought it up to them and they said, "Nate, this is awesome. Like this is something we could really implement. We're not going to do it. Like this isn't in our realm. This isn't something that we can do. We need you to go back and keep doing your work."
Oh
And
boy.
so I was broken. It hurt me. Like I was so excited about it. It made sense to me. Genuinely, I think it could have like just changed the game for them.
Hmm. Absolutely.
And so like pretty quick after that, I was like, I need to start being my own boss. I need to start making my own decisions. So my first foray into entrepreneurship was as a loan officer. I don't even know if you want to call that entrepreneurship,
Interesting.
but
No,
it
it's
shifted into
yeah,
that.
no, broker stuff like that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. But I got to control my own like the way I approached leads
Yeah.
and the way I
Mhm.
marketed and sold and controlled the experience for my clients. Like that really I loved that. I
Right.
really jived with how that worked and how much I could creatively shift it and
Yeah.
make that work. So and then it kind of went from there. Obviously, I don't do anything anywhere near mortgages anymore, but it
Yeah,
was
well, this is interesting
wonderful.
because t usually what happens is the last work, a job we have is usually what we were intended to when we were young. It's like we evolved to that. So after the loan officer thing, what did you transition to that got you
Yeah,
closer to what you're doing now?
I my good friend, we actually were talking about him before we started recording here. My good friend Josh Tapp, who runs Pantheon FM,
Right.
he called me. We've been friends for a decade at
Okay.
this point. Like we knew each other in high school.
Right.
I did done a little bit of contract sales work for him in
Yeah.
previous iterations of his company. He
Right.
called me and said, Nate, like we're building this really cool thing in podcast monetization.
Yeah.
Would you like to talk? And that's not even what he does now. Like they've
Right. Right.
shifted away from
Drifted
podcasts
away. Yeah.
entirely.
Yeah.
Come up, come sell with me, come be a contractor, and we can build this together. And so that was, I couldn't tell you, that was probably 4 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
I
Okay. Okay.
packed up. I was in
Yeah.
southern Utah and
Oh my
came back
gosh.
up to
You went
Idaho.
back to
And
Idaho. All
yeah,
right.
so
Wow. There we
and
go.
that definitely connects more with what I do. That brings us into like the agency and
Yeah.
coach consultancy world that I play with a lot nowadays.
I love
So
that. Way to go,
makes things a lot
Josh.
easier.
Yeah, Josh is a good
Yeah,
man too, just like
he
Steve.
is. He
Steve and
is.
Josh, those two. Okay, so now you're in the tap world, working with Josh on, and that. Well, now I know you kind of broke away, not from him, but just doing something differently. Because I definitely want
Yeah.
to get to what you're doing now because it's very intriguing to me.
Hmm.
So once got into what you were doing with Pantheon, what what idea did you have that you wanted to branch out? Because I love
Yeah.
what you're doing now.
Yeah. So when I came in, I told Josh up front, I was like, Josh, you got to know my plan. I have committed to this. I'm starting my own thing. I
Yeah.
want to come and build what you're doing, but the once I get this figured out, my plan is to exit and start to build this. And he was fully supportive. I want to build it with you. Let me know how I can help you best.
Yep.
Which I appreciated.
Yeah.
So what we saw is that every single coach, consultant, agency, even like mid-sized business,
Yeah.
they wanted two big things. And maybe I'm generalizing too much, but they wanted a podcast
Okay.
and they wanted a retreat.
Okay.
They wanted to build some realm of those two things. And yet those two things were always put on the back burner
Got it.
every single time.
Mm.
And travel has always been one of my true loves in life. Like
Yeah.
oh my gosh, going and experiencing culture and being
Yeah.
places and
Yeah.
food and that
Yeah.
is
Gotcha.
is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I love to plan trips, events, things like that. Why not step into the event world? Why
Yeah.
not build up something on that side?
Yeah.
So I took a lot of the same things that Josh was doing to help
Right.
monetize, fill,
Mhm.
use podcasts the best way.
Right.
And we kind of funneled that right into first retreats. And then we added more like one off in person events,
Mhm.
webinars, virtual summits, like built it up from there to be as experiential as possible and kind of open up
Yeah.
as many doors as we could from there. So it was a really good journey that got us to where we're at
I
now.
love it. All right. So tell me about the first retreat slash event that you did, like what was yours, and how
Mm,
did that progress and how did it go? Give me like the steps of how do you do some kind of event, your first
yeah,
one. How'd you do it?
sure. Well, it was quite the process getting to the first one,
Right.
honestly, because it was the model was weird and we weren't sure how to price it, how to approach it, who to
Right.
market it to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the kicker is that podcasts have, if we're talking that podcast and retreats, podcasts have a much lower barrier to entry than a
Right.
retreat does, which is
Yeah.
great. Like I
Yeah.
think it's wonderful, but we'd get in a lot of conversations with people. The first one, what was that? Let me think back a couple years here. Um, oh my gosh, I think that was so we did a joint venture
Yeah.
with a couple of hosts, and Josh was actually one of them. He
Okay. Great.
decided to come on board with this.
Yeah.
We got three different guys that were in a couple different fields. Josh does a lot of marketing.
Hmm.
We had a guy who does sales and one that does more operations. So
Right.
kind of
Got
hitting
it.
on the three
That's
realms
good.
of
Yeah.
business,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which was really good.
Excellent.
And we went down to Orlando.
Okay.
Um, and just had a blast. Like all of our events are extremely experiential. We
Yeah.
we hate the conference room feel.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
always like we try to go someplace that's off the beaten trail
Yeah.
and someplace that they can actually have a great experience. So we went kayaking in a state park down there, and just this gorgeous area, great food. We've gone back multiple times. I think it's my favorite venue at this point. But
Mhm.
the kicker with it, and to answer your question about like how it works, what you have to do to approach that, it's filling the event. That's part of what we realized is
Mhm.
I've never wanted to be just an event coordinator. I don't want to
Right.
just
Mhm.
step in and like
Yeah.
run an event.
Right.
I've always been like, let's design it. Let's figure out what the end goal needs to be and how we can approach that
Right.
and everything that we can implement to make it happen.
Right.
And with that, let's figure out um how to fill it with the right people and how to build up referral partnerships and kind
Right.
of make it all make sense. So um I've started telling all my clients or all my potential clients it's like 85% of my work happens totally outside of the event itself. It's
Got
in
it.
like relationship marketing, it's in
Right.
connecting with the right people and helping them to commit to being in the room and
Mhm.
opening those doors.
Yeah.
So um, but it works phenomenally and it gets me excited.
That's great.
Does
So
that answer your
it does. It
question?
does. No, it
Okay.
does. It does. So, do you target certain types of events, types of themes, type of people? Like, what have you
Yeah.
evolved to now? Because I know you had one company, it was called Luxury. What was it called? Luxury.
Luxury mastermind experience.
Right. And tell me a
Hmm.
little about that experience and
Sure.
how you transitioned to what you're doing now.
Sure. We originally the plan was to target masterminds, high level coaching groups, things like that, that we could build retreats for them.
Okay.
But it's expanded a lot that especially with the upfront work that we do and that we
Yeah.
focus on,
Yeah.
our specialty is I'll call it smaller events. We do
Okay.
some larger events, like we're hosting a pretty big virtual event in July.
Okay.
Um, hopefully this comes out before then. I don't know, but um,
I'll work out when are you doing
wonderful.
July, you said? Yeah, no, I will have this
July.
episode out before that, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. If it was my podcast, it might be further.
Nah, I'll
I
make sure.
struggle
No,
with
now,
that,
especially
but
now you told me you have something coming up. I'll definitely have.
yeah. Yeah, well, we're doing one there that's much bigger, but
Yeah.
what we realized to answer your question is that it really, at the end of the day, it's the people that work best for what we do
Yeah.
and that get the most value are the ones that are trying to build business based off of relationships and trust.
Got it.
So
Okay.
it's the ones that can't be like the offers that can't be sold from cold outreach or like a paid ad or anything like that. It's the ones that has call it a nurture cycle
Yeah.
to get people in the door and get
Mhm.
them to trust you and know you and like what you're doing.
Mhm.
The events that we're doing kind of gives a lot of value and step to help them to get up there,
Okay. All right.
as well as continuing relationships. We do a lot with like fulfillment with current clients, bringing
Mhm.
them in to help them connect better and get more done in 2 days than they would in a couple months, or
Okay.
referral partners. So
Right. Right.
that's really what it's expanded to. It's all relationship based. Everything
Right.
is how to deepen that and make
Okay.
better connections.
All right. So now your current company is called
Hmm.
what? Okay.
Odigos events.
Tell me first how you got the name,
Yeah,
and then what you're doing now with it.
it, it's we got on a kind of a this kick of really loving like the Greek and Roman stuff. And again,
Yeah.
it's with Josh. Like Josh isn't even like a full business partner of mine, but
Right.
we always call our companies sister companies. We work next to each other.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's
Right.
got the Pantheon and all of these
Ah,
like
there's the Greek
Greek
stuff.
and Roman things. And
Yeah.
so
Okay.
I was like, can I do something there? Like, I'm sure we'll be working side by side
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
long time. Is there
Yeah.
something cool? So I was looking through all these different possibilities. I think Chat GPT helped a lot with this
Yeah.
once
Yeah.
upon a time. So,
Yeah.
and I came down to Odigos, which is guide in
Ah,
Greek.
okay. Love
It's
it.
the Greek word for guide, and that one just stuck out. Like that made a lot of sense for what we were doing and where we were going with this, and
Yeah.
um, so it's stuck and it's built up with the events. It's built up with every like global
Mhm.
thing that we're doing. It's that's kind of the namestay for a long time. So
I love it. I love it. Now I think you told me, didn't you have some kind of event in March that you were planning in Florida or something? Did that ever
yeah,
happen?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we did.
How'd that
Actually,
go? Yeah.
back in Orlando. We were
Yeah.
back in
Okay.
that same spot. So, oh my gosh. Well, we've started to shift some of our events to be hyper curated. So
Okay.
this one wasn't for other people. It was an Odigos event
Oh,
specifically.
okay. Great.
So I
Great.
filled the room, brought all of my good friends. I wish you could have been there,
I
Drew. It would have
know.
been
I
a
was,
blast.
I
But
know. Next one, man. That was rough.
next one, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
We've got
Yeah.
more coming up.
All
So,
right. Okay.
but the key with that is we try to fill the room based on who's already in the room.
Got it. Okay.
So fill it up with 5 or 10 people, and then have really good conversations about what they need and
Mhm.
who they're looking for. If they're looking for capital or super connectors or um, partners in certain
Mhm.
offers, if they're looking for clients, whatever it might be, then we go and find those people and
Okay.
invite them into the room and bring them there. And then we figure out what those people need and what they're looking for. And
Ooh,
then it kind of makes a
I love
spider
that.
web of
What a great
connections.
idea.
So
Oh, I love that.
it makes for a very, I call them hyper curated events
Yeah,
because it really
they
is
are hyper curated.
exactly that. That's the
Wow.
goal.
So the one in March in Orlando, what was the theme? Like how, like if I was there, which I wish I was. So let's
Yeah.
say I was there, what would I experience?
Yeah. So are you asking for that one in
That one
particular or
right
just
now,
a
right now,
general?
that one in
Okay.
particular, and then what your vision is for another one, like how you're gonna, because I know
Sure.
you want to make everything better than it was before.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
let's start with the one that happened and then where you want to go.
With Orlando, it turned into very much a kind of a collision between agencies,
Okay.
nonprofits, and a couple of people in like financial
Okay.
services.
Okay.
So
That's a
just
nice
kind of
mix.
the intersection between each of those.
I see
So
the
we
connection
had
though, how that could help all those
yes,
people. All right.
yeah,
So
yeah. So
they
it
came
all kind of
together. Yeah. Okay.
mhm.
And
They
then
came together, and Josh was a sponsor for that one.
okay.
I think this podcast is more about Josh than anybody else
Josh
right
Cap
now.
show.
Well,
This is the
I'll
Josh
send it. Yeah,
Cap
yeah.
show. I love it.
But he came
Yeah.
and with what he's doing at Pantheon now, he used to do podcasting and now it's referral marketing,
Right. Right.
and helping people build referral systems.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he came and taught and facilitated and helped us all to like connect better and ask for referrals and kind of
Right.
open the right doors. And
Yeah.
for that room, oh my gosh, like it was I think Josh and I both agreed that it was the best room we've had,
Wow.
in that it just the caliber of the people there, the things we were doing, like it was a blast. And as I understand, and from my follow up, it seemed like people got some really excellent value out of it, and
Good.
the
Good.
connections were just invaluable. So it was the
Beautiful.
very much a collaboration event. We don't do the keynote or
No.
just
Okay.
speak at you sort of
Got you. So it's
events.
different from what I'm accustomed to. Yeah, because I'm used to the keynote.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why
Cool.
we launched this all is we're sick of that. Like just
Yeah.
it's valuable. Education and helping
Of
connect
course.
the right people is so valuable, but
Mhm.
especially if you're in person, like
Yeah.
why not spend as much time as possible
Mhm.
meshing and
Yeah.
connecting and figuring out
Of
where you can
course.
help each other and what
Absolutely.
doors can be opened. So
Absolutely.
I
All
think it's
right.
key.
So where's the vision now? How are you gonna make it even better?
Oh yeah. How do we make it even better? We're really leaning into that hyper curation
Mhm.
side.
Okay. I love that.
I think that that's as our network expands and
Mhm.
build, not just mine, but we have a ton of referral partners and
Yeah.
people that have been a part of our events or have
Mhm.
seen what's going on that are pretty keen on what we're doing and where it's going. We want to just expand this first off. I mean, expand it geographically.
Okay.
Our goal is to get to Lisbon and London by the end of this year or the start
Yeah.
of next year,
Okay.
and then Australia early into 2026 as well.
Okay.
But ultimately, the goal is to just. I realized recently that what we do, it's not events necessarily.
Okay.
Obviously, that's the vehicle,
Right.
but it's firmly based around relationships
Okay.
and relationship marketing. It's connecting and collaborating and bringing the right people together.
Love that. Yep.
And kind of that mindset
Yeah.
shift has opened a lot of doors to help make it make more sense
Yeah.
what we're doing. I
Hmm. Hmm.
guess it
Yeah.
makes it clearer how we can help accomplish that better,
Absolutely. Yeah.
which
Absolutely.
is
Yeah, no, I
amazing.
love that approach because I've gone to so many of these events where you go to each, you listen to certain speakers, and there are people in the audience you're not even thinking about.
Yeah.
There may be
Yeah.
key people you can build relations in that audience, and it's you're on your own to get to meet them. But I mean, I would
Sure.
have loved, and I'm going to at some point be going to some of yours, but venues where you're encouraged to get to know the attendees,
Yeah.
not necessarily just there to listen to a keynote speech and take notes and apply it at home, because you can do that
Hmm.
plus get to know the audience, you know? So
Exactly.
I love that. Love that approach. Anything else that you think the audience should know that we haven't touched on that you want to let them know
Hmm.
what you're up to, or any advice or anything at all?
Oh man, it's a good question. I think just ultimately it's I have become so much a champion of this like realm of relationship marketing.
Hmm.
Like every call I get on and every person I talk to, I'm like, "Oh man, like have you thought about increasing how you connect here, building
Mm.
this up?" And I really I think that every single business, whether it's high level like $100,000 a year coaching
Yeah.
or whether it's like buying fidget spinners from Walmart, like anything like that, there is space to build up relationships and
Mm.
connection, an emotional connection between
Mm.
your brand and the buyer. There's
Got it.
always space
Yeah.
for that. And it doesn't have to take the space of this big event or anything
No.
of that sort,
No.
but there's always stories that can be told and different causes to back and
Yeah.
people to share and things to empower with what you're doing. And I really am such a firm believer. I think we're really shifting in the market where cold outreach
Mm.
and
Yeah.
paid marketing and things like that, it's not nearly as valuable or
Mm.
as useful as it used to be.
All
It
right.
doesn't work quite like it did. It really is.
Yeah.
People work with the people that they know and trust. That's
Absolutely.
where we're at right
Yeah.
now. They
Yeah.
buy from that too.
Absolutely. And I've noticed that a lot. There's still a lot of those hackers and cold marketing people. I mean, it's hit on almost every platform now, even like LinkedIn. Some will be, it'll make sense to connect with them because they wrote it differently, and then you connect, and then right away it's, would you like to
A
buy
sales
my? I'm like,
pitch.
what the. I love the
Yeah,
relationship marketing. So God bless you, Nate. That's that awesome approach. So, folks, I believe you certainly captured the essence of Nate Wilde, and you're going to want to get in touch with him. So here's how you can do that. On LinkedIn, go to LinkedIn. It's linkedin.com/in/Nate, Nate dash Wilde, Wilde. Definitely reach out to Nate. And what's the website again? Because I don't want to butcher the Greek word for
you're
guy.
good. Odigosevents.com.
So Odigos.
Yep,
So
that's
it's
it.
as it's okay. Odigos. Okay. Odigos what? S s
Odigosevents.com.
Events.com. I'll put that in the
Hmm.
show notes. I'll put that in your LinkedIn. All right. So folks, listen to this. You ready? Hey Nate, I'm going to ask you two questions. All right. The first one,
Hmm.
visualize you're in your happy place
Hmm.
and you're sitting down with young 7 to 10-year-old Nate and you want to give him advice about life. What are you going to tell him?
I think I would tell him to lean into creativity.
Mm.
I think more than anything, I think in a world where creativity is stifled and like genuinely, schools and everything kind of teach you to be in one place and don't think outside the box. Don't subscribe to that. Really, truly, and genuinely lean into the creativity that you have and make it you. Make it everything you're about. Because that's, I think if I had figured that out earlier, I would have gotten on this journey even earlier and been more excited and confident with it
Uh,
at that point.
I love it. Lean into creativity. All right, so we're going to shift hats. Now you're
Hmm.
talking to young Nate, the young businessman, young entrepreneur, and you want to give Nate advice about business. What would you tell
Ooh, you warned me about this question before we started, and
him?
I had a good one for the 7 to 10 year old, but um, man, that doesn't seem so long ago. It seems like I'm talking to, it's definitely a different Nate, but I think I would probably tell him to aim high. Stop aiming low. Stop like don't look for pennies because there are people willing to offer thousands and thousands of dollars for what you're doing.
I
I think
love
that
it.
it's a confidence thing to just aim high. Look at the stars. Aim for that.
I love that. It's like understand and know your value and don't negotiate it down. Have it
Yeah,
to be a
absolutely.
non-negotiable. Yeah, know your
Hmm.
value and what you provide for others as far as that value. That's great advice. That's great advice. Well, Nate, I want to thank you for a bunch of things. Coming on, number one, coming into my life. I certainly know that we're going to build a long relationship here, and I want you to, you inspire me because you're probably half my age. And I'm old enough to be your dad probably, but I'm proud of you and keep being the human being you are and keep doing what you're doing because you are in empowering yourself, you're empowering others to lean into creation. So keep doing it, man.
I will. I will. And I can I push that back to you? Thank you, Drew. I genuinely like you are such a good man. I'm sure everybody listening can get the feel and like you can pick up on how good someone is through their like the content things they push out. So I hope that people can genuinely tell how sensational Drew is and what you're doing and what you're building. So
Thank you, my
and I mean
friend.
that genuinely. I really I do.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Well, take care of yourself, man. And everybody out there, please take care of yourselves. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe and give us a review to help others find it. I'd like you to answer this question. Are you living the life you want to live, or are you living the life others want you to live? I'd like you to think about that for a second, because I strongly suggest you live the life you want to live. If you want to learn more about what I stand for and my services and how I'm able to help many men get out of their own way, please go to my website at www.profitcompassion.com. Feel free to also email me at drew@profitcompassion.com. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Take care of yourself and choose to write your own story instead of letting others write it for you.